Hello, everyone, and welcome to Plex 2021. I'm Bill Berutti, Chief Executive Officer at Plex, and I want to thank you for joining us. We're excited about Plex 2021, and we look forward to spending the next couple of days with you. As we look back on 2020, there's a lot of ups and a lot of downs that we all faced last year. But one thing is for sure, manufacturers led the way. Manufacturers led the way in the discovery of vaccines and medicines to treat the disease. Manufacturers led the way in making the products to keep healthcare workers and patients safe. And manufacturing led the way to allow us to get back to work and to work safely from home. Just like always, manufacturing leads the way. And now manufacturing is leading the way in our economic recovery. So thank you to all of you for what you've done to help us get through this crisis and work towards the other side of it. And that's why this year, the theme for PowerPlex is unstoppable. Because all of you are unstoppable. Manufacturers are unstoppable. What you were able to accomplish and your ability to adapt, to pivot, and to deliver for everyone that needed your help is incredible. You really are unstoppable. Now, there's a lot we learned about ourselves and about what's important during this crisis. And I'm excited to tell you that we now have published the 6th annual State of Smart Manufacturing Report. And there were things in the report this year, the research that you contributed to, and by the way, thank you to the hundreds of you who participated in the research this year. But there were many things in the report that were a reaction to the pandemic. And one of the more interesting ones is the statistic that you see here, which is now that fully 83% of you put as a high priority the adoption of smart manufacturing technology and processes. Because we all learned during the crisis that technology and modern processes underpin our ability to react to difficult situations like the pandemic. We also know now more than ever how important smart manufacturing is to helping us adjust and adapt to business needs, whether it's changing supply chains and the disruptions that we saw to supply chains during the crisis, or the ability and need to rethink where manufacturing occurs, to have manufacturing occur closer to our customers, or the need to react to disruptors in our market that change the dynamics of our industry, or to position ourselves to be a disruptor so that we can be the ones driving change in our industry. The need to digitize our businesses, the need to be able to work from anywhere was made clear by the crisis. And as always, we have got to root out legacy technology and legacy processes that hold us back, that prevent us from being able to lead, to disrupt, to adapt, and to thrive. Now, smart manufacturing has always been a critical enabler to business transformation. But again, the crisis highlighted it more than ever. And I'm excited now to have a customer join me to talk about how they leverage smart manufacturing technology to adapt during this crisis. I'm really pleased to be joined by Mike Williams from Cadillac Products. Mike, thanks for being here, and if you could, introduce yourself.
Thanks for having me, Bill. I'm the Vice President of Operations and Purchasing here at Cadillac Products Automotive Company.
Mike, could you tell us a little bit about the history of Cadillac Products, how you got started and how the business evolved over time?
Sure. Yeah, we've been around for over 70 years. We were formed in 1942 as a war baby to support the efforts of World War II. Before plastic packaging was a thing, we were shipping canvas wax tinners joints overseas at the Atlantic to make sure the Jeep hoods didn't rust. And then from there we pivoted into automotive and just generally film and flex products. And now today we're just a purely automotive company.
Great. So, you've got a history of adapting to not just wartime, but different vertical markets and, continuously innovating as a company. COVID obviously had an impact on everybody. And I think you've got some interesting stories around how your company responded to the COVID pandemic. Can you share that with us?
Oh, absolutely. So we were in the arsenal of democracy, and now we're part of the arsenal of health. My cousin, who is a nurse anesthetist at Detroit Sinai Grace, her father is the CEO of Cadillac Products Packaging Company. That's our sister company that makes a bunch of packaging films. Well, she went to her dad early last year in March and said, "Hey, Dad, can I get some trash bags because we're running out of PPE and I'm pretty sure we're going to be wearing trash bags. Can I get some?" Because they also make trash bags. No, he says, "I think we can do better." So they had some rubber separator film on their plant floor, and they shipped it over to our Troy plant here. And the intention was just to have the nurses make their own gowns and kind of make ponchos. We got a hold of that and said, well, let's see what we can do, because we got a bunch of guys that know how to make some stuff. And woke our tool shop up, and in the first 50 hours we had a gown made. And then over the next week we tooled up some obsolete or down equipment because the pandemic was on. And we made our first 500, and then from there we had an all-volunteer salary staff and some hourly folk come in and donate their time. And we just did a donation effort and started making gowns for local communities and such, and from there it just kind of kept going.
That's a great story, Mike. And if I remember correctly, it's actually turned into a real business beyond the original kind of volunteer and donation work that you were doing. Is that right?
That's correct. We got to be, the demand got to be so much we couldn't decide who got what, and people started asking, can we buy these from you? And we guess, yeah, okay. So we started as Protect USA, and we've made an automated gown line that can make these things at rate and compete with anyone doing this.
That's awesome. So what started out as a good deed turned into an expanded line of business for your company, which is just an awesome story. Mike, you at Cadillac Products, you've been innovators. You've invested in smart manufacturing technology. Can you talk a little bit about how the investments in smart manufacturing technology, the use of Plex, played into your ability to adapt and pivot to these new opportunities?
Sure, yeah, it was great. Since we were all sent home, and not all of our folk are equipped with laptops, Plex was instrumental in letting us get back in and do some work from home. So people were able to use the PC setup, get their home desktops set up, and log into Plex and start moving inventory around, because we were kind of stepping our way into this as we were donating and adding this inventory in manually. Our sales team and donation team needed to know how many we were making each day, because it wasn't consistent. So they knew, though, at 2:30 p.m. every day they could log into the PCN and take a look at the inventory screen, and that's what we had available for donation. People started wanting to buy these things. We got pretty interested in how much it cost us to make these things. So we were setting up work center bills and routers and process routing and such to then manage that business and print labels at the work center instead of just manually adding inventory. So Plex was great in allowing us just to take what pieces we needed at the time to manage our business without giving us too much. But then when we were ready, we could easily add those things in.
That's really awesome, Mike. The ability to work from anywhere based on the cloud and smart manufacturing, the ability to have insights into real-time inventory, and even the ability to run your business so efficiently that you could compete with low-cost offshore resources. It's a really, really powerful story. If last year wasn't enough with COVID and the related health and economic damage that was done, most recently I think you were affected by the storms in Texas. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, we have a plant in San Antonio, Texas, and they were hit with that freak occurrence. And the roads were froze. They couldn't get to the plant. There was no power. There was no water. But our customers are still running, and they want to know what's going on. So with Plex, our team was able to, again, using hotspots and cell phones and however they could get on the internet, because the internet was down a lot, were able to get into Plex in the cloud and see what our inventory status was, and then game out using the work center calendar on when they would come up and when they might be short shipping our customer. So when they were in the command center calls in the morning, we were able to give our customer a lot of confidence that we would not be the problem, and they could move on to people that maybe hadn't made this investment in smart manufacturing.
Great story, Mike, and really exciting to see the investments that you've made in really being an innovator pay off in your ability to react to a crisis and adapt to new business opportunities. Mike, thanks so much for spending the time with us today.
Thank you, Bill.